What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. We're gonna have a discussion about talking points because I've been looking at this for a while where people on social media believe like talking points are facts. Talking points aren't really facts, they're talking points. And just like with statistics, you could say you can skew any statistic to say anything, which means you can it can be true or it can be a half truth or it can be a complete lie, right? And that's the same thing with talking points. And what happens is you're seeing with social media and the information age where your talking points are starting to be held up to scrutiny because people are putting a certain thing that's called facts against them, right? And it's not panning out, and it's for a reason. Because most people who just spew talking points and believe talking points, they're stupid, and they're praying to other stupid people to agree in their stupidity, for whatever agenda. I'm talking about with politics, with race, with gender, with religion, talking points. And I'm gonna say this in a bunch of different ways, right? Because I've seen it too many times. Talking points, we have political talking points on the left and on the right. Now, on the left and on the right, neither side has an answer for the economy. Neither side can say, I know we're going to do to fix the economy, because that actually takes, I don't know, let me see, intelligence, brain power, practicality, reality. But what people do is those people over there, you know, they're on a liberal agenda. Those conservatives are racist. And it's like, so let me just get down to the brass tacks and say, oh, so none of you have a plan for fixing these situations. It's just they're bad and they're bad. And here's the issue, they're both bad. Fixing America, it's because of the LGBTQ, bringing dysfunction on the American family, and it's the blacks, and they're their victim mentality, you know, and crime, and we don't say what about Chicago anymore, but people play along with that game. But guess what? Saying that doesn't mean you're gonna fix the economy. People can say, "Oh, the Republicans are racist and they want to take women's right to to abort babies away and take away their choice, and they're evil people." Is this gonna fix the country? No, but it feels good. Like, you have people who are hypocrites in this sense. The same people that are gonna make sure Trump gets in office are the same people that said they would never vote for Hillary because she's a criminal, because she went to trial. You don't want somebody like that in office who's found themselves in court. But hey, when it's your side and it's your team or the people that you believe in the most, what's a little bit of hypocrisy, right? You know, and then you got people on the left, you know, they're racist. Those people don't like you. They're racist. And then you say, well, okay, I understand that. So what are you, good good white people on the left? What are you going to do for black people? Oh, we can't do anything for black people. We have to do something for America. Let's give Ukraine money. Ah, let's give Asians a hate crime bill. Let's give illegal immigrants money. We can't do anything for just black people. And it's like, okay. See, that talking points. When you take these talking points and you put them out into the real world and what's actually going on, it's not even smoke and mirrors because there's really no smoke. These people ain't smart enough to put the smoke there. It's just, mirrors. And it ain't that many mirrors. It's just like, one mirror over here, one mirror over there. Like, look at that mirror, but look at that mirror. It's, stupid. And then you have people who try to be pseudo intellectuals and use these talking points in context, but most of the time out of context to prove their point. And knowing that people aren't smart enough to look this stuff up, you just say anything, just anything. And people go, okay, that's my team. Okay. It's like being a diehard fan. It really is. You know, like I could say, like, you can say straight people and gay people, there's two talking points. Straight people, we are right for the country. God's on our side. Gay people, y'all, you're disrupting, God's will. Hey, gay people go, well, you haven't been doing a good job of being straight. You don't get married. You get divorced all the time. You have these broken families. It's like, yeah, that's nice talking points. But I can guarantee you one thing. If you saw a straight family have a kid dressed up, well, you can have a straight family have a kid dressed up overly sexual, and people gonna have a problem with it. But they're not gonna say much and keep it to themselves. But on the flip side, you can have a kid at a gay rally doing highly sexualized things, and people go, but we skip over that because talking points. There's hypocrisy on either side, right? And the reason why this is interesting to me is because what you wind up doing is taking actual free thought and observation out of the equation for most people. Like, same thing, I was listening to the race conversation. And it's always weird to me because normally you have non-black people talking about black people. And most of those non-black people aren't really around black people in their lives at all. But they know so much. And they all say the same thing. But if you ask a simple question, so how often are you really around black people? Because they said the same thing that people said 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's like, oh, okay. Okay. So you're not really around. And what it is our dysfunction is more publicized than other communities' dysfunction. But ironically, in the real world, you see other people being more dysfunctional in the public than us. Because I really don't see us out of pocket in all these places. But there sure is a lot of evidence that, you get a bunch of white people together, it's gonna be some problems. You get a bunch of non-black people together, it's gonna be some problems. But it's not viewed as a problem. The same thing. Um, Listening to Tariq Nasheed and Myron, Sneeko, Tommy Sotomayor, and they brought up the race thing about Jewish people are white, and they're like, white guys are like, no, they're not. And I'm sitting there like, the problem with talking points is people just skip out of reality. First of all, Judaism is a religion, but it's a religion that's been terraformed to basically people just say it's white people, like. And but when people go back to it, where are these people, Ashkenazi Jewish people, from? pretty much from Germany to Russia. Just however you slice it, middle of Europe to the far to Asia, basically, is where they're from. For years, they spoke Yiddish. They didn't speak Hebrew. They took on a religion and they spoke Yiddish. Yiddish is a Germanic language. Okay, but now all of a sudden, these people ain't white no more. It doesn't make sense. Where are their ancestors from? Germany, Poland, Croatia, uh, Latvia, Lithuania. Like it makes no sense. Czechoslovakia. Like these people are white. Okay, relax. But it's an issue because white people go, the Jewish people, they run everything and they're not white. And it's like, yeah, okay, but you couldn't tell the difference. Like, here's the thing. If you hear a certain last name, you know, McDonough, you're gonna be Irish. If you hear I don't know, I can't even think of if you hear not Gonzalez, but like Ronaldo, Ronaldo is Spanish, right? Or somebody Messi, Italian or something like that. He's Italian. He's from Argentina, but whatever. Um, but names have whether it's Greek, whether it's Russian or here or there, or whatever. By the last name, you know which country people are from. That don't mean they're not white. You get what I'm saying? That doesn't mean they're not white. Dirk Nowitzki, he's white. He's German, right? Ronaldo is looked at as white. He's Spanish, right? You know, I'm trying to think of somebody Italian, but now he's white now. Somebody Sweden, so forth, so on. But if somebody has a name like I don't know, what is his name, Irving, oh, he's not white anymore. Stop it. You're stupid. Makes no sense. But because you have talking points, you know, Shapiro, like, I mean, the person can say Shapiro's Italian, just my opinion, but whatever. And the reason I bring this up is because all these groups have a stereotype, whether it be a positive one, whether it be a negative one. But is the talking point, and it's weird because depending on which group, the stereotype is the reality, even if it's not reality. You get what I'm saying? And sometimes the stereotype, the reality is, overlooked because people don't want to deal with reality. Like, case in point, I'm a black man. So some people have the stereotype that, hey, crime, criminal, drug dealer, blah, 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 blah. But if you met somebody who would say Mexican, you would have, oh, a hardworking immigrant family who does landscaping and does housekeeping work. But honestly, who do the black criminals get their drugs from? Mexicans or Asians, or maybe Middle Easterners. But we just skip over that part because that's not the the stereotype we want to portray, even though we everybody knows it exists. So we're the bad guy. Everybody else is just, you know, oh hum hum. We're good people who just have a few people dabbling in evil, but those people are evil all day long. It's like, okay, whatever, you know. So is it talking point reality? No. But if you need to feel a certain way, you're gonna take a talking point, you're gonna run with it. It's not a big deal, right? For most people, it's really not a big deal. Um, I'm gonna add things, and then I'm gonna kind of mix some of this stuff together after a while. So I'm just prefacing that now. It's the same thing with gender. You're seeing men and women using reality and using narratives. And the people who are using narratives, just in general, the people who have narratives about other groups of people are usually the ones in fantasy land the most. They're the loudest voices and they get the most shine. They get the most clout. They get the most views. They go viral the most, right? And what is that old thing? Make a lie, make it big, and repeat it. So what you get is people repeating stories over and over and over again. And the truth is, a lot of these stories are just made up at this point. You know, and when I'm saying that they're made up, I'm saying as far as um, what you see from the male female dynamic. Oh, back in the day, you know, back when I wasn't around, back when I wasn't born, and when my parents weren't born, it was like this. But do you talk to your grandparents or your great grandparents are alive to talk to? Yeah, but do you talk to them though? No, exactly. You're making stuff up because a person like me, I can bridge the gap. Like my grandparents are dead, my great grandparents are dead, but I've talked with them, lived with them, visit. Like I've spent a good amount of time with them to know what was going on in their lives and in that time period that they told me what was going on, right? And things, I found out that they were aware of, but they didn't know all the way about because every different region had different things going on and a different view of things. So when you get to these stories, you know, the men were doing this because you basically go from the men were womanizers, in the 60s, right? To the real men were real men in the 60s who were providing for their family. So can two things be true? Yes, but you can't on one end say, oh, he had a family here and a family across town and this, that, and the third. And that's why, your daddy ain't ish or your granddaddy ain't ish. And then say, but granddad worked hard and he took care of all these kids and all these families. And it's like, okay. But skip out that all them kids wasn't granddad's kids. Y'all don't say that part of the story because it doesn't fit. That if you're on the female side, you don't want to you want to say granddad was a womanizer or granddad did everything and grandma had to do nothing. So for one, you could justify you screwing over guys, and for two, you could justify expecting guys to do everything and you doing nothing. But you don't want to say grandma was cheating. Granddad took care of a kid that wasn't his. He was providing for that too, but so should grandma be trusted, right? But we skip over that, because it's not good for my narrative. Same thing with guys, you know, guys talking about the gold diggers and the dating experience of women being out of pocket and dating, which by people experience is true, but you're we're getting to a demographic rising in men who really not dating like that. It's just hookup culture, sneaky links. So y'all really not dating now. So now the fact that y'all hooking up for maybe to go out or maybe just come through for sex or I'm gonna come over there for sex. So you really not having a dating experience. You just have talking points now. You just have talking points now. You can't. Guys are talking about how women are all on Instagram and being prostitutes, but ain't flying them out at the same time and then talking bad about it. Like, what are you, bro? You participating in what you complaining about? I'm sorry. So you in a gang complaining about gangs. Like, I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense. So your talking points aren't really rooted in reality. You have a bunch of people basically participating in dysfunction. Whether I was talking about the politics earlier or the racial things earlier, or as I'm talking about the gender and relationships. What you really have is people participating in dysfunction because they're dysfunctional and they're just doing but what about them over there? Just look at them over there. That's the real problem. They're they're that. You know, you catch somebody, out at a party snorting cocaine, basically, and they go, but they look at them on that fentanyl. Look at them. They're. Whew, I have way more class than that. I have way more class than that. I will never do fentanyl. It's drug addicts. Like, bro, your nose still got the white stuff on it. What are you talking about? But it ain't fentanyl. It's like, okay, all right. You know, this is, you know, the Louis Vuitton of drugs. It's okay. It's acceptable. That's, that's the gap. Okay, it's like, okay, whatever. So this is what I mean about all of these narratives. These talking points. It's just one person pointing at another person to get the heat off of them. That's the same thing I would say. Like when I was talking, bringing up the Jewish thing earlier, it's a religion thing. People go, "Oh, I'm Christian," I'm Muslim, I'm Buddhist or whatever, right? And my religion is greater than yours, and it's like, listen, because you know, Jesus is God over here, so you people are uncivilized. But Jesus never said he was God. But that's how confusing people are in religion now. And I've said it before that, Jewish people and Muslims both say Jesus was a prophet, basically. They don't believe he's the son of God, but he's a prophet. Whatever. Not a big deal. Tomato, tomato, whatever. They're all three are Abrahamic religion. So really, really don't matter. It's the same God, same people in the Bible as in the Quran, as in the Torah. The Torah and the Bible is the first 5 books. It really doesn't matter, right? Um, but people stick to this religious thing. And at the very same time, break all the rules in all three of these books while they're claiming a religion and claiming God. But point at the other person, but y'all don't do this and y'all do that. And it's like, listen, I hate to break the news to all of y'all. Christians engage in hypocrisy and sin. You know, Jewish people engage in hypocrisy and sin. Muslim engage in hypocrisy and sin. You know, as Deontay Wilder would say, to this day. So, maybe you feel better than, you know, I sin less than you, but I sin more than you kind of situation. But it's just talking points, because people have dumb rituals. And I'm gonna just say it like that. A lot of these people have dumb rituals or dumb beliefs that people say are traditions, but truth be told, all of these religions have used traditions to screw over somebody who's in that same religion, predominantly over race, by their gender, for money. That's just how it goes. So, it's just talking points to me. People will say, "Oh, you're American." People go, "Those, those people over there in the Middle East or in Asia, they're terrorists." And it's like, it's kind of weird to call them terrorists when this country's military goes over to their country and blows up stuff. They're not really coming here blowing up stuff. This country's going over there blowing up stuff. So, but hey, but because we have that narrative, America, we're patriotic and we're fighting for the freedom of the world. And people go, yeah, America. It's like, what did you bomb that country again for? Oh, they didn't want to. They didn't want to buy our goods and services, so we just bombed them. Oh, okay, that's real diplomatic. That's democracy for you. It's the same thing. And people say if they, you go out to the Middle East, like if you black and you're a Muslim in the Middle East, you're gonna experience racism. It's just gonna happen. You know, they're gonna still have that issue, right? And if you come from another country to be there, oh, you're gonna experience classism. It's just gonna happen, right? You know, the Quran says treat people this way and that way. People ain't trying to hear that. They're not trying to hear that. So when it comes to the talking points, it's just not based in reality. It's not based in reality whatsoever because they're just talking points. I want to get over, so I'm gonna use my talking points to get over on you. And to me, it's like a symbiotic relationship because you have groups of people um, basically together as accomplices to ride the wave of a talking point so they all can benefit. So it's BS. That's why I say these talking points aren't really reality. Um, and some people might have issues. How can I say this properly? Where you can have a legitimate gripe against something, a legitimate gripe against something. But the truth is, you used a bad faith argument to make your point. Like when I brought up the Jewish thing, which is hilarious to me, because I was listening to Tariq and Tommy talk about it, and Tariq was saying, one of the issues with Judaism in Germany in the Holocaust was that they were saying that Jewish people took on a black, they're descended from black people, so they're not really white, per se, basically. And Tommy was more like, no, the issue was they were Jews in Germany were basically price gouging Germans. They would sell goods and services to um, sell goods and services and loans, rent, all that other type of stuff. You know, to Jewish people at one price and basically sell it to Germans at a different price. Price gouging, adding interest. Jewish people wasn't paying interest, but if a Jewish person was dealing with a German person, they paying interest type of situation, right? So, like in America, basically. And so that was the beef. For me, from what I remember, it was both. But it was more so the financial part. But to get the people on board, they used a racial element. You know what I'm saying? Because it was white people, and that's when they used to have those pictures, of skeletons and skulls and faces and noses and propaganda because they was trying to say they not like us, Kendrick Lamar style, right, back in the day. And it was the talking points. And once you can go, ooh, we're not the same, I can attack you, right? The irony of a situation like that is, in Germany, now people pay interest, right? So even with the financial aspect of it, they make sure Germans are paying interest in Germany. Now it's like what a difference a day can make, right? I get rid of these people for this, but you know what? We're gonna pick that habit up. It's like, oh, okay, because people don't really look into the reality of a situation. And when I say they don't look into the reality, they don't go, this is this, and this is this. Wow, because the talking points are so strong. Because a lot of times when you listen to a talking point, you condense a, a lot of information into a catchphrase, and people will run with a catchphrase because it's so vague that it's something to be truthful. Like, make America great again is nothing but is a political just do it. Just like hope and change. They really don't mean, none of these phrases really mean anything. It's just what people latch on to as marketing, right? But this happens because of narratives, and these narratives comes from people's talking points, and what people leave out of all of these talking points is, as I said earlier about the smoke and mirrors. Well, I'll say it this way: there are people who are habitual line steppers, and if you ever dealt with a manipulative person, it's basically the same premise. Say I did something that was dead wrong to somebody else. And now I'm talking to a different person who's not involved in this equation. But I'm telling them my side of the story, you know. And because I'm telling them my side of the story, I'm not telling them what I did. I'm not telling them, you know, that the reaction of the other person was warranted, because I'm not telling them the whole story. I'm telling them just enough to get them on my side. And guess what the other person's going to have to do? They're either going to treat the other person a certain way, or and they're treating another person a certain way. Um, they might hear a little nugget of the other side, or then they might sit down and talk to the person and say, they told me this, and they say, well, that happened, but that was a response to this. And they go, well, they didn't tell me that. No, Sherlock. You get what I'm saying? So this is where all of these talking points come from. Somebody leaving out information. You gotta take into consideration, a lot of these people are not going to tell the full story. So you're not going to hear a full story. So when you believe somebody's talking point, you should understand from jump that, oh, they're not going to tell me the truth. They always say it's two sides to a story, right? And then and people say it's three sides: your side, their side, and the truth. Now people keep adding on. It's four now because you just want to make a slogan right now because you're stupid and you're hoping somebody goes along with it. But truthfully, there's right and wrong, good and bad, the truth and the lie. That's pretty much it. You can add all these little gray areas if you want to make you feel better. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why people add all of these gray areas is because they're operating in gray areas because they're doing sucker stuff too. So if I can understand your gray area because there's some BS in it that I've done too, basically. So I gotta excuse that, because if I say that's wrong, I'm gonna say what I'm doing is wrong. And that's why I say these talking points aren't reality. They're just talking points. And you see it like I saw the thing with Sneeko, right? Getting punched. You antagonize a guy, you get punched. Now here's the difference. If the guy was if the security guy was white, they wouldn't have ran and pressed charges on the guy for antagonizing him, and he punched him because he was a white guy. Because all the white people would agree, hey man, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But as a black guy, oh my God, it's different, right? And even if the situation was reversed, if it was some black people antagonize a white guy and the white guy punched him, America would go, oh no, 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 no. Lock them all up, they're animals. You can't press charges. They assaulted that man. They got what was coming. But when you switch it around, all of a sudden people get, they're used to their narratives and stories. I can disrespect you, but you can't respond. Because if you respond, oh, you're the bad one. So this is what I mean about talking points. because people live in their talking points and they live in their little bubbles. And what used to work, because what they did before social media, like what they did to antagonize that guy and mess with him and get punched in the face, if there was no social media around, he would have definitely got a charge for assault, because all of those people would have just came together with a story. Snako did nothing. We weren't saying anything. We weren't cussing at the guy or saying F you. We weren't chanting and antagonizing the guy. He just lost it. You know, say that. Got get another white cop on the scene. Yep, we're locking you up, buddy. Guys, like I'm defending myself. Do you have any proof? Do you have any witnesses? And all the witnesses will go, we didn't see nothing. We saw him assault somebody. So it's the same thing. It's the Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA being physical effect all right now, which is part of what I'm talking about in the sense of narratives, talking points. These women were physical for years and years and years, but you know, now we got a white girl who's dope, by the way. And people say, "Hey, man, they hating on her because she's white," and I laugh and I think of it in this sense. Has it ever occurred to somebody that they lost the national championship and went to the White House? They lost the national championship uh, and went to Saturday Night Live. So that's really unprecedented. But it was because it wasn't just Caitlyn. It was all white. Team can make history. There's a bunch of black players. Go home. Go home. You know, I'm gonna be. I gotta be honest, man, because of the talking points, and they're saying, "Hey, man, this young lady we can market the game around her. So don't rough her up." And using Matt Barnes' point of view, he was right. That's not these other teams' responsibility to go easy on her and not touch her up. That's her teammates' responsibility to touch these other teams up for touching her up. But at the same time, what do you think happens when you're a number one pick? 9 times out of 10, you're going to a sorry team with sorry players, and you're gonna have to get rid of some of them because they do sorry stuff. So she getting beat up because her teammates just don't have her back. That's what it is. But hey, we need talking points: jealousy, hatred, blah 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 blah. You know, you get people, um, and I made this point. Shout out to Case Closed, Dr. Thunder Ike. Kaizo crazy self. But I was talking about the Young Turks, and I'm gonna use this talk because that's a political show. They use talking points, supposed to be left leaning or whatever. But the irony of that show is like it's a race baiting show because it's called the Young Turks, but 9 times out of 10, they're gonna talk about issues with white America versus black people, and not talk about anything about Turks. Like how is the political landscape affecting the Turkish people? We're not hearing it, right? So, and when people have platforms like this, when people have on the right side, when you get people like Candace Owens, who's not Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, all those people, was the Blaze. I remember Tommy Lauren and all those people. It's white people with other white people talking about black people, or white people with people who are like Caribbean or Africans talking about black Americans. But it is like, wait, so basically you have all these talking points, and even though you want to have an intelligent conversation, you basically X out the people you're talking about because you don't want to have a conversation with them. Like, what is the guy? Patrick Bet David. Like, I saw him a while ago. Roland Martin was talking to him about racial issues, and He was just hitting them with facts about like the housing market and this, that, and the third, and how it's discriminatory. He's no, no, no. But then white guy comes on the show, Thomas Russo, and just basically tell him, hey man, you ain't white, your kids ain't white, y'all ain't gonna never be white, blah blah blah. And he's just sitting there, all this brown nosing, and it's like, bro, hey, you've been spewing white supremacist narratives this whole time and talking points, and you thought they were gonna like you too. No, it's weird because it's stupid. And same thing I was talking about with the gender situation and the gender dynamics. It's the same issue over and over and over again. Because what you're getting at this particular point in American history is, in the current era of America, is people who are really uninvolved in everything, talking about things that let me slow this down and say it this way. People are experts in things now that they never actually experienced, or they never actually studied, or they never actually have researched. They just see a couple of things and go with an ideology or go with a view, and then all of a sudden they're an expert. And then when you put them on the opposite side of somebody who has the experience, the research, the knowledge, then you're stuck. Like I saw a clip of I was about to say Michael Eric Dyson, but it's not. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Is it Neil deGrasse Tyson? I forget. But he was talking to, ironically, this old girl with the Amber Rose with the tattoo on her forehead. And she was talking about retrograde and the moon. He was like, that's all BS. Because now you're talking about people who feel like, oh, the moon is shifting and my emotions are shifting, versus a guy who's an astrophysicist. Like, no, that's not how that goes. So now you have, the person who's allowed to be vague because there's an expertise in being vague now, talking to the person who's an expert in the field, and it's like, oh, so you mean to tell me we've been just spewing BS this whole time? And he's like, yeah. But the irony of him having a conversation with her is, at least she's smart enough to have a conversation with him about it. What you have now is people who just present like they're smart and they're idiots, and they only talk to people who don't fit the category that they're talking about. You get what I'm saying? So it's weird. But I'm going to leave it at that, man, because, I ain't got all night, man. But at the end of the day, talking points are not reality. They're just talking points. So you tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
It looks like a job for Superman.
Do this,
spoken from the lips of the young or the old. There are men.
Yeah. Gotta put it all in.
And there are Supermen.
All the way.
I guess I'm taking off the cake through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, cause when I walk I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the kings of neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed with salt, mixed with freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you still follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound, but I can't stand fair weather friends, and I just fly around. My super friends is Justice League. Only folk I kick it with. Kill Lex Luthor, so what? We had to finish it. Kids play games and adults play for keeps. And me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke. Then again, it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. listen? I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.